lights, is that marginally better?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know I'm talking to two pros, but just look at me and
do what you want. Up to a point.
How long is this piece?
Well, it'll be the closing piece for World News Tonight. Okay. So I know we'll keep the interview pretty concise because I don't want to, waste their time. But okay. Let me start with you, Mr. T. You're a lead actor in a hit series. You're world famous. Shows a hit all over the world. How come you decided to climb into the ring?
I like violence. I say that because people always saying that our show is real violent, so I'm tired of going around trying to be the nice guy saying we're really not violent and all that stuff, So, so I'm people always saying certain negative things, so I'm agreeing with them, So that kills their point, I mean, a little reverse psychology I like to use there.
My daughter, who was a Cyndi Lauper fan, says that one of the things you said was that you came in because you felt that she was being unduly
Exactly.
attacked.
Well, it was two things. I was sitting in Madison Square Garden when the incident happened, and plus, like I said, I've always been a great fan of the Hulks. We met when we did Rocky III. Then when I saw that happen, it was just two strikes, Number one, it was two guys jumping on the Hulk, and then when Cyndi Lauper screaming the protest, one of the guys slapped her, So like I said, I would have been less than a man if I didn't intervene in there. Like I said, I think I was the only man in Madison Square Garden at that point. Because if there were any other men in there, they would have jumped to the aid themselves. But a lot of wimps around here. That's why crime is so high in New York.
I saw you years ago win the bouncer competition.
Yes.
Is that training going to stand you in good stead when you get into the ring?
No, the training that I have getting out the ghetto, that's going to help me in the ring come Sunday with WrestleMania, March 31st. See, winning the bouncer contest, I won that contest not because I was the toughest, the roughest, or the meanest, or the baddest. I won because the cause that I represented was far more greater than the other guy's cause. I wanted to win to feed the hungry and clothe the naked. That's why I won, because I'm grateful to God, and that's my power going into that bouncer contest. That enabled me to win. Other guy want to win, get him a new card or get him some clothes. I was just thanking God for giving me an ability to participate. So that makes me a winner right there. Like I tell the kids, whatever happened on March 31st, I'll always be a winner, whether I win or lose or whatever. But the fact that makes me a winner because I stand up for injustice. I stand up for the downtrodden, for the weak. I'm making a point, trying to get kids off drugs, trying to get kids away from the wrong crowd, trying to get kids off alcohol, tell them listen to their parents, stay in school. That makes me a winner.
Okay. Hulk, you're the WWF champion. Wrestling's been big in this country, I don't know, for decades. It seems to me now it's getting a new kind of audience. I noticed Gloria Steinem, Andy Warhol. Are you guys becoming trendy in a way you never were before?
Well, it's been around for a long time. Like you said, it is like a new trend because there's a new breed of wrestlers that have entered the sport. The young, aggressive, athletic type guys. There are no more big fat slobs that are on top making a lot of money. This is a sport where the top guys in professional wrestling could have played anything they wanted, from professional football to hockey to baseball or whatever. There are a lot of great athletes. Most of the reasons for the guys being in the sport now is because there's a lot of money involved, and they've got a chance. They don't have to be participating in a team sport hidden by football helmets and pads and stuff like that. You can be an individual, and there's also a chance to express your personality, which is an entertainment factor that is added to the sport. So the whole thing encompasses a new breed of wrestlers, a new charisma, a new spirit involved, and it's bringing a lot of people out of the closet that used to just watch wrestling on TV. They see how exciting it is live in the arenas, and it's turned into a whole family extravaganza.
It struck me that
in a way, what you're up to in the ring and what rock performers have been doing ever since MTV is not all that different. I mean, we get to see these guys in person, we get to see what they look like, and as you say, wrestling is a sport where you get to know the individuals very well. Are you comfortable with that, with that link?
Well, it's like sports entertainment, that and the fact that the rock and roll crowd are one and the same. It's a very excitable crowd. It's a younger crowd, even though you see a lot of businessmen and families there, like I mentioned. But it's definitely entertainment with a lot of athletic ability involved. And that's what the people get off on. They're coming there to be entertained. And when I come out to the crowd yelling and screaming and flexing my arms and ripping my clothes off, the people really get off on the entertainment factor. But once that's all over with, they appreciate the fact that we are supreme athletes and we can perform and we can wrestle and we can get the job done. It's a whole entertainment, I don't know how you'd say it, it's a whole a couple different worlds in one. And yes, to answer your question, the rock and roll fans and the wrestling fans are stark raving maniacs, one and the same.
So they really get off, it seems to me, both those crowds. When they get to a ring, 20,000 people in the Garden, there just seems to be such a release of energy.
Right, well, it's a psychological release. You know, people come, they need this type of entertainment. Like I say, wrestling fans are unlike any other fans around. Wrestling fans don't attend soccer. They don't attend tennis matches. They want to get involved. That's them sophisticated crowd. Tennis, you don't holler, ooh, that's phony. You know, you go there, your neck is hurting, you ain't released. You know, you need some release. So they go to a wrestling, they can really get into, all right. Well, man, they feel good. They get their money worth. You know, like a baseball and say, oh, wow, get out of here, bum out. You know, they upset. But when they read a wrestling, they can really be entertained. They thoroughly enjoy two athletes, you know, that's skillful and talented. See them do all kind of moves and whatnot. It's artistic. It's like watching a flying trapeze, the artistry there. You know, one guy dive off the ring post, boom, and another guy do this move and all that. Man, that's pretty. That's exciting. A lot of people go there and say, man, I wish I can do that. So you get a chance to cheer the good guy and boo the bad guy.
Now that both you guys, at least Sunday, you're good guys. You're heroes. It strikes me, you, Hulk, in particular, 30 years ago, you might not have been a good guy, because as I remember, people who looked like you were often the guys that the audience didn't like. How come both of you are good guys?
Well, you know, we both represent something that everybody in America believes in and stands behind. You know, we, like T says, you know, we train, we say our prayers, we eat our vitamins, we don't mess around with drugs, we don't drink, and we play it real straight, you know. And a lot of people, just by us telling the truth, a lot of people get off on that. That's all we have to do is tell the truth, you know. And it's just with the thing we stand for and we believe in, sometimes people get a little upset with us because, like, when we're training now, we've been nasty to a lot of people. You know, a lot of our fans we should have signed autographs for. We've got something on our mind. We've got March 31st, WrestleMania, the largest closed circuit event ever. We've got two guys, Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff, who are known for taking cheap shots and kicking you in the teeth if they get a chance. And like I said, we'd like to apologize to all the people that stand behind us because maybe we've been a little irritable this week. We've been training hard. The guys been punching me in the head all week, getting me up early, running me all over New York City. But a few years ago, maybe we would have been bad guys, but today, the people, I guess you could almost call it survival. You know, we'll go out there and wrestle fair and square if that was the case, but if somebody gives us a cheap shot or tries to take advantage of us, the people get off on the fact that we're survivors, and we'll give them one heck of a receipt. You know, that's what the people like about us, because we won't lay down and cry. If T gets his nose broke or his arms broke and he can't go do the A-team, you're not going to hear this man cry. He's going to say, hey, that's the way it was. WrestleMania, March 31st, 1985. There are no crybabies here involved. And the people get off on the fact that we're street smart, we're street fighters, and we'll fight for what we believe in no matter what it takes. Maybe a few years ago you could call us the bad guys, but I call us just survivors now.
Right, see, what's really happening is this here. See, people are looking beyond our physical, our look. Like you might say, sure, maybe a couple of years ago, a long time ago, people might say, wow, them guys look like freaks or whatever. So people are looking beyond Mr. T Mandinka hairstyle or the Hulk ways with long hair and things like that. That's what I'm seeing. See, a long time ago, we were so quickly to judge somebody by their appearance. You know, not by what's in their heart, what's in their mind. So now we get them, we say, wow, we can't use that no more. So we got to start judging people as people. Like I said, we represent the good. We're not out there freebasing. We're not out there dealing with reefers or marijuana or enticing kids to drink or something like that. We're exactly the good. So slowly the parents, the kids already saw that. Slowly the parents are beginning to get into this, say, wow, these guys are clean living guys, upstanding. And the average guy around, you know, every guy would like to, you know, is amazing, and, you know, they stare at the Hulk built and whatnot. They say, man, I wish I was built like that guy, you know. So and because of that brings about a lot of envy. So guys, they say, wow, they not being like that. So now they tell their wives don't go. Feel their wife might be glancing at his muscle and whatnot, and look at them. So all that goes into a play. I mean, I don't like him because, I mean, you really think about it, just to be realistic, you know. Here we telling people to do good, we ain't telling nobody to do nothing bad or whatever, and some people are gonna have their problems with that. Mainly because they throw something up, a smoke screen for the real fact. They say, wow, you know, since I'm not built like that guy, he might take my wife or my girlfriend. But kids don't see that. They see it. Good entertainment, clean living, and we need heroes these days. Because the heroes we used to have to wind up being junkies or something.
Now, wrestling also needs, it seems to me, really good villains. I mean, you got the Iron Sheik. Iran isn't too popular in this country. You got Volkov, is that his name? The Russian, stands there. And you could understand how an audience might resent the guy singing the Soviet national anthem in the middle of a ring. Why is Rowdy Roddy such a great villain? I mean, he really does seem to me to be a terrific bad guy. He just makes you want to do what you hope to do with him on Sunday.
Well,
Tell me about it.
It's like these guys in this profession live this thing 24 hours a day. Maybe, I don't know why Roddy Piper has such a chip on his shoulder. Maybe a lot of people say that he's standing in my shadow. He wants to be the world's heavyweight champion. He wants to have 24-inch arms. He wants to be a role model for the kids. And sometimes people take a lot of shortcuts to try to get there, you know. It's taken me 12 long years to get where I'm at in professional wrestling. And a lot of guys think they can make leaps and bounds and use people as stepping stones by taking shortcuts. And what I see in Roddy Piper's character is the attitude or the aggressiveness, I don't know the exact word you'd use, to be number one at what he does. And he's not going to get there by doing bad things or taking shortcuts. And it's a situation of when I look at the man, he's frustrated, he's irritated. And when I was in the ring, I saw the evil in his eyes. It was like looking at the devil. He's so frustrated. He wants what I have so bad it's eating him alive. And that's the cutoff point there. You're not going to get it by taking a cheap shot or a shortcut, because when you're right and when you're positive and you're in the right spot and you're doing the right things, it's hard to get knocked down when you're right.
What I mean is that there are people who say, well, you know, like in politics, people fight and then they go out and have a drink, have dinner, whatever.
Right.
After Sunday, could you two see yourself going out with Roddy and his opponent and saying, well, it was all in good fun, now let's go out and have dinner? Is that how it works?
Nah.
Well, you know, you've asked a lot of good questions, and I'm not going to say that's a stupid question, but it's a little unrealistic. You know, I don't believe in what Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper do. For instance, Paul Orndorff has one of the most dangerous holds in professional wrestling. It's called a pile driver, with a jam a man's spine by dropping him on his head. And I can appreciate the hold. I would call it a submission, deadly hold. But even after he wins the match, he goes on and punishes his opponents by maybe applying the hold again or trying to hurt him. And I don't see how we could, with everything that we stand for, believe, I don't see how after Sunday we could go out and be friends with these type of individuals, because they don't fit my lifestyle. I don't like their attitude, their personality, and I just don't get off on what they do. So the question that you asked is just unrealistic for me to be able to comprehend that. I just can't even ever imagine me being friends with Roddy Piper or Paul Orndorff unless they really did a whole U-turn in their whole lifestyle.
It's just like shaking the hand with shaking the hand of a child molester. You know, the guy is just wrong, period. You know, you just can't be the company friend. See, anytime a guy becomes our opponent, he becomes our oppressor. When a man becomes our oppressor, he becomes our enemy. And when a man becomes our enemy, he must be destroyed. So that's what we got to do to these guys. There's no game, no joke here. I've been telling people this is serious business. If it wasn't serious, you know, I would not have lost all these pounds I've lost. You know, I would not have been training viciously and intensely and been as determined as I am. You know, I sleep with this bar, take it everywhere I go. Not to try to look tough, but constantly, you know, keep exercising, keep my mind on what I got to do. People ask me, why you not wearing the gold? The gold because this is serious business. You know, I got to concentrate on what I got to do. I got to stay hungry. We got to have the eye of the tiger. We got to train 2 or 3 times a day. Not my idea to be giving all these interviews, because our opponent's not giving interviews. They are training, so they got to jump on us. You know, so that's why I say I've been walking around with a chip on my shoulder, with basically the bad attitude, because I'm not feeling well. I'm not feeling well per se to do a lot of talking. I'm not trying to promote ticket sales or whatever. Whether somebody come to the match or not, you know, we're going to take care of these guys. You know, we're going to take them in the back alley somewhere, make me no different, you know, because what I'm prepared to do is to take care of business. You know, I ain't for no jokes and people asking, whether D is a rookie or how they just going to happen, you know. Like I said, I got something for that. I got what I call Mr. T's 10 terrible torture tests. The average guy can probably barely get to 1. You know, Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper and the ace Cowboy Bob Orton might get to 3 or 4, but no man gonna get to 10, not alive.
All right, you've been very patient, so let me just ask you one last question about the future of wrestling. I mean, you've had a loyal audience ever since I was a kid. It was a big popular sport, filled the garden all the time. Is there a danger that if this thing becomes really hot, I mean, reaching audiences it never did before, as I say, you got Gloria Steinem and Andy Warhol and Joe Piscopo and Geraldine Ferraro rooting you on, is there a danger that your hardcore audience, people who've come year in and year out, are going to feel that you've lost touch a little bit? How do you prevent that?
No, I don't think so. I think it'll just make them feel that they were right all the time, you know, that they were really a part of the foundation. And, you know, sometimes we get a little irritated with people that make fun of wrestling or in years past made fun of wrestling. Now all of a sudden they're jumping on the bandwagon because it's the in thing to do. Wrestling is getting the highest ratings of almost any TV programs or shows on the air now, and all of a sudden people want to be seen at wrestling matches. They want to be seen with Mr. T and Hulk Hogan because Mr. T is now a part of wrestling. He has become as good as a professional wrestler, and on March 31st we're going to find out just how good he is, you know. And they want to be associated with Mr. T because he's with wrestling. They want to be associated with me, and we don't mind if they jump on the bandwagon, but if you if you do jump on, don't get off, you know. If you're really a sport, if you're really a fan, stick with us because we're going to be here a long, long time.
Any predictions of that Sunday?
Pain.
We're going to win.
It won't be pretty. It won't be scientific. But we're going to win.
Got to.
Every day.
That's good. Just let us take a bit of a wide shot and we'll be done.
Okay.
I do appreciate it. I know
You
it's
asked some
early.
really
I know
good
you've
questions,
been.
you know. Some guys don't even know how to approach us, you know.
I watch you guys.
Well, some guys don't even know nothing about it. They come in cold, and that's an
They
insult
don't
to
know
us.
who we are really or what
I'm
we're
old
doing.
enough to remember Haystack's Calhoun.
Oh my gosh.
600 pounds.
Right, I remember him.
Remember
we had a
Gorgeous
little
George?
TV.
I have
Or
just
rock
one
it.
question for you. You said you provide a role model for children a lot,
Right.
and you condone. You said violence. You like violence. Do you feel that providing a role model who likes violence may be detrimental to kids?
No,
They go out and just
teaching kids
beat up on each
to stand up to them for themselves. Kids won't beat up on themselves. Adults beat up on themselves. You know, kids will protect each other. Kids won't let their mothers be insulted. Let their sister be insulted by some jerk on the street. You know, to me, like I said the other day, and I've been saying for years, you know, it's a shame and it's an insult to so-called manhood. You know, how can a man here in New York let his wife, his children be afraid to walk and play on the street? You buy you a house and your kids can't play on the street because some punk down the block or whatever. Where are the men in the neighborhood? Where are the men in society? We call ourselves a men because we can go to the gym and lift 200 or 300 pounds, or we can curse, or we can say we tough, we can get a woman pregnant, and that's supposed to make us a man? No. Kids, you know, like I said, there's a problem. See, a lot of adults can't see, or a lot of adults have a problem with Mr. T. Just like you were talking about earlier about the people people in South Africa. But like I said, basically other people like over here, they say, why is it all the kids like you, Mr. T? Because kids see truth, justice, and the godly way in Mr. T, not the American way, because the American way have a way of lying and trickery. Kids see the love I have. When I tell a kid I love them, I mean it. I tell a kid that I'm going to stand up for them when they call me to go to court with them. They didn't call Magnum. They didn't call Superman. Why they didn't call the Smurf? Why they called Mr. T? Because they don't see Mr. T as black. They see Mr. T as a man who's going to be there, who's going to take off, who's not going to get caught up in the money aspect of an 18 and say, hey, man, I got to go be with the kids. If I am their true hero, nothing stands in between me and them. If they reach out to me, I would have been less than a man not to provide them with the protection and the guidance that they needed. They feel secure with Mr. T because Mr. T ain't going to be lying. Ain't going to be telling one thing, they ain't going to do another. I ain't going to tell no kid, don't do drugs, then go up in my room and snort cocaine. No, you won't catch me out there these places. They've been trying to set me up with this stuff because they want to undercut what I'm about. They hate that. Adults don't want to see that. A lot of men feel that's a threat to them if their child look up to Mr. T. But if he was a secure man with who he were, it wouldn't be no threat. He'd be saying, wow, you're doing a very job, Mr. T. Very rare I get a man come up and tell me that. He said, Mr. T, I want to thank you for all the kind things you're doing with the kids. It makes me want to cry because I want to hug that man because it's rare that I get that. But some mothers can see that. So some men get insulted because they figure Mr. T trying to take their lady. All this still stuff, you know. But like I say, you would figure I'd be the most popular guy around. I'm telling kids, don't hang with the wrong crowd, don't smoke, don't drink, don't do drugs. But you know what happened? Mr. T is stepping on toes. If I tell kids don't do drugs, the dope dealer don't like Mr. T. If I tell kids don't drink, the breweries association don't like Mr. T. If I tell kids don't smoke, Reynolds Tobacco Company don't like Mr. T. You see, if I tell kids don't hang out with the wrong crowd, the thugs don't like Mr. T. You see what I mean? So a kid might say, wow, I want to be strong like Mr. T. But I tell kids, it's more to Mr. T than just my muscles. It's my heart that I can say no to drugs, that I can say no to all these so-called orgies that they having. And people don't like that. Oh, Mr. T, look at me talking about 1 minute he talking about God, next minute he doing this here. Kids know the difference. You know, and why I old up and say, why you in there say violence? Kids gonna laugh at that because they know what's happening. Adults have the problem. That's why people say, Mr. T shows most violent on TV. I used to go around and say, no, he ain't violent, we ain't violent. Everybody know if I was to hit a man with all the rings, I'm having be blood everywhere. But the kids know the difference. Adults have the problem. Know why? Jealousy. I'm that same black, nappy-headed kid from the south side of Chicago, living on welfare they used to laugh at, used to look down to. Now they gotta look up to. You know, I'm not poor no more, I'm rich. That bothers a lot of people. I'm the same guy where we the same show people say wouldn't be on the air for 2 weeks. Mr. T and Georgia Paul wouldn't get along. I respect Georgia Paul as a father. People don't like that.
You know, the violence that being around Mr. T, the violence that he advocates is all really on a surface level, man. You know, we're not digging real deep and saying you need to go, Mr. T's not into robbing people or beating everybody up just because, you know, he's a bad guy. It's real.